Okay, this video is going to show us how to produce random integers, and so of course we just on the previous video we already talked about how to produce random decimals, and so you should have all of this code in here should be filled out so that you have it on paper. And then what we're going to do is we're going to then now go on and show how to produce integers instead of decimals. So on your JGraphs document, you should have, let's see here, in JGraphs you should have random numbers open, and what I'd like you to do is change this to random integers. And if I'm ever going too fast, just make sure you pause the video so you can take care of what you need to do, but change it to random integers and then do a save as, and then come down and change this to int, so the random number is now going to be an int. Alright, so those are the only changes I need you to make at this time. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate something in JGraphs, and then we're going to go back to our notes and fill in some notes. So I'm just going to demonstrate it right now. You do not need to do what I'm going to do right now. Okay, there's a time when I will give you code that you should actually type in your JGraphs document, but right now this is all you need to do for now. So I'm going to change this to 1, so it only does one loop, and then I commented out random numbers math.random. Now one of the numbers math.random, what we're going to do now is I got to do this correctly. One of the numbers could say, and usually it's going to be longer decimals, I'm just doing shorter just to show this a little bit more easily. One of these numbers that could be produced from this method is let's say 0.482. And so of course right now, hopefully this compiles. Of course not. I did not. Okay, I see. That's not going to work yet. Okay, I forgot. I got to keep this as a double for right now. I'm gonna leave this int up here, which you can do that. But now I'm just going to go ahead and use this random num. This variable memory location is going to be the one that this is going to call. So let's see if this now compiles. I can't believe this. Alright, timeout. Okay, so I think I figured it out. If I haven't, I'm just going to quit. Alright, and go to Dairy Queen. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to just use this double random, and so one of the examples of a random number that could be generated by this method is 0.482. Okay, so as we run this, after I finally got the errors fixed, you can see of course it's just printing 0.482. Let's say that we just multiply this by 10, and let's see what that does. So if we multiply that by 10, it should, you math wizards out there, should know that it's going to move the decimal point over one place. And so, as you can see, it goes from being before the 4 and it's moved over to 1. So now it's 4.82. Alright? So now we have a number other than 0 out in front. Okay, so the math.random is always going to produce 0 point something. And so what we do is we multiply by 10 to get that a bigger whole number out there in front. Alright, and so now what we can do is, if you remember, we have a cast operator that will change this into an integer. Alright, so we have a cast operator that cuts off the decimal and or truncates it, or drops it, and so all we have left is a 4. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go int, and then we're going to put parentheses around the 4.82. Alright, and now we're going to change this back to an int. In fact, what I can do now is I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to bring this back. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to compile it, and then we're going to run it. And so now you can see we multiply by 10 to make it 4 point something, and then we use the cast operator, the end cast operator, to drop the decimal, so now it's just a 4. So now it's an integer. All right, so that's going to be part of our formula that we're going to use when we are using random numbers. Now here's the thing. Let's say that we want to do random numbers from 1 to 10. From 1 to 10. So let's take a small number here. Let's take as small as we can get, basically. Can I go here? All right, and let's see what this does. What number is this going to produce? Well, that produces a 0, but we want to actually produce a random number from 1 to 10. And so since 0 is the smallest it can go, this is like as small as you can get, then in order to get from 0, so the lowest number is a 0, and we don't want a 0, we have to add 1 to it. Now let's show you one other thing. Keep that in mind. We're going to go up to the highest one, 0.9999. Okay, so what is that going to do? Well, that's going to produce a 9. And so we can't produce a 10. So this, right now in this current state, the random numbers are going to be from 0 to 9. And so we want to go from 1 to 10, so all we got to do is add 1. All right? And so then it will produce, now you'll see this, it will produce then a 10. All right? And then the one that was at 0, let's go back to that. If we go back to that, you'll see that it produces a 1. Okay, so the random numbers go from 1 to 10. All right, so now notice we picked a number that would replace, would be an example of math.random, what it would generate. So we're just going to put it right in its place. So any number that's generated by math.random, if you multiply it by 10, apply the cast operator, and then add 1, then you're going to get a random integer between 1 and 10. And so let's go ahead and show this, and I'm going to remove this. And okay, and we're going to now, I'm going to go, let's take 100 just for kicks, and let's see what this does. So compile this and rerun it, and as you look at these numbers, you're going to see they're all numbers that are between 1 and 10. All those numbers are, you have 1s and 10s along with everything else in between. All right, and so that's what produces that. And so what we can do, and just for kicks, let's just change this to a 50. No, let's not do that yet. I'm not going to do that yet. Let's go back to our notes. So in here, what you can show to show this is go just multiply this by 10, and that gives you 4.82, and then go int 4.82, and that's going to produce a 4. And then we take the 4 and add 1, and that's going to give us a 5. All right, so that is, so if the random number, random decimal, is 4.82, it's going to convert that to a 5 when we do all this calculation, the times 10, the int cast operator and then adding 1. And again, what that allows for is if you have a number that's 0.01, really low, or a number from 0.9, it's going to make it so that it produces a 1 or a 10 or anything in between. It will not produce a 0 at all. Alright, and so the code for doing this on your notes then you should have is going to be int, and then it's going to be math.random plus 1 or plus times 10. That times 10 gives it a whole number in there other than 0. And then once we're all done with that, then we're going to add 1 so that it produces numbers from 1 to 10. So this is the code for generating random numbers from 1 to 10. Now we can do the same thing interestingly, and we're not going to go into why and how this works, but if we go over here, we can change this to a 50, and you'll notice then that it actually produces numbers. All these numbers go between 1 and 50. Alright, and so that's how we do it. And so obviously you can see the pattern here. If you want numbers from 1 to 72, you can just type it times 72. And so that is how that works. And so in here what you can do is put this down. This just gives you the idea, and then you have to be able to apply this. If you need to change it, there you go. And so that's how we produce random numbers from 1 to 10 and from 1 to 50, and that's it.